Hi, my name's Matt and I'd like to welcome you to this Zindiac ITIL 4 video starting with information security management that has the purpose to protect the information needed by the organisation to conduct its business. This includes understanding and managing the risk to the confidentiality, integrity and availability of information, easy to remember, CIA, as well as other aspects of information security such as authentication and non-repudiation. So confidentiality, who can view the information, integrity, is the information correct, and availability, can the person who's authorized to view it or access it when they need to, is it available to them. Authentication and non-repudiation, we authenticate to prevent repudiation. So if you repudiate, you're saying it wasn't me. Yeah, so if you logged into a system and changed some configuration and then logged out again, somebody noticed the changed configuration and you said it wasn't me, you would be repudiating. And if we've authenticated you correctly, so with username, password, maybe facial ID, maybe other means of authentication, then we can say, no, it was you and here's the proof. You know, the person who logged in used your username and password, but actually, and I think this is where facial recognition maybe comes in even greater, here's a photograph of you actually typing the username and password and accessing the system and making the change. So obviously we have to balance how much authentication we undertake against the risk of repudiation. So the greater the risk, the greater the authentication would be. I had this conversation recently with my bank where I was trying to cancel a standing order for £4.49, and I'd gone through some security. You know, I'd given my name, my bank account details, I'd given quite a lot, and they were, oh, we can't cancel it. And I was saying, look, it's only £4.49. And I'm cancelling. I'm not taking money out. I'm stopping money going out. So the worst case scenario here is if I'm not who I say I am, and you've gone through all this authentication anyway, but if I've somehow done that and I'm not me, all I've done is stop some money going out of the account, a very small amount of money. It's not like I'm paying more out. So the risk is very low. Now, clearly, had I been trying to take $1 million, and not there is £1 million in my bank account, but if there were and I was trying to take £1 million out, then yes, I would expect greater authentication, and I expect probably have to physically go into a branch and maybe produce my passport, maybe some other stuff. Yeah, there'd be more authentication. So you've got to balance those things out. Becoming an increasingly important but difficult task. Yeah. Breaches might have a major effect on an organisation's business, but we need to define what they are. Information security management, specialised branch of wider security management, and there's now a closer integration of the disciplines. And I think the reason is that more of our security is information security management than it was. So there is obviously still physical security, but typically for many organisations, the things that are most invaluable are information. It's IPR, it's those types of things rather than physical machinery or whatever. Information security management success factors. Developing and managing information security policies and plans. So we obviously have to develop them in order to implement them. And they may address the following aspects: an overall information security management practice approach, use and misuse of IT assets, access control, password control, communications and social media. That's really quite common now, where organisations want to control what you do on social media. So certainly if your social media account identifies you, and particularly if it identifies that you work for a particular organisation, they may want strong control. I think it's a lot of people now have two social media accounts. They kind of have their work one that they're very careful with, and then maybe they have an anonymous one, or just a personal one where they can maybe express political opinions if they so wish. Malware protection, Information classification, very important information classification. When I worked for IBM and I misclassified something. My first job really. It was a year out from university, so it was a student placement, and I misclassified something that should have been maybe internal use only. I classified as IBM confidential, and got into lots of problems with it because I misclassified it, and then obviously didn't look after it as it needed to be looked after with that security classification. So very important that we classify things correctly. Remote access, obviously, and particularly under current conditions with coronavirus, that's become more important. And it's not just having the access, but where are you accessing from? Are you accessing from home or a public place, and different access requirements. Suppliers access to an organisation's information and resources. Intellectual property, I mentioned record management and retention, important for GDPR, and whether you're inside the EU or outside, if you're holding information of any EU citizen, you need to comply with GDPR, so that's an important thing to think about. Personal data protection and other relevant aspects of information security. Mitigating information security risks. So the established policies and plans should drive behaviour and implement controls to maintain a balance between prevention, detection and correction. And if you're particularly interested in this, ITIL has a whole training course and certification called Resilia that addresses this, and in Resilia their recommendation is that, roughly speaking, the balance should be 50% on prevention and 50% on detection and correction. So that should be the balance. So clearly we want to prevent security breaches, but there has to be a recognition that however much time and effort and however good we are in expertise we put into prevention, there will be some breaches, and we need to detect them and correct them as quickly as possible, as efficiently and effectively as possible. Controls may involve any of the 4 dimensions of service management, so organisations and people, controls such as training, policies, separation of duties we mentioned before, or obviously the other one there would be dual controls. Value stream and processes, controls such as backup, patch management or peer review. Information and technology controls such as firewalls, encryption or antivirus software. And partner and supplier controls such as contractual requirements, process audits or third-party certification. Exercising and testing information security management plans. So we must, if we made a plan, hopefully we'll never actually have to execute it in real life, but if we do, we need to be assured that it's going to work, and the only way to do that is to test it, like anything else. So improves readiness and ability. Exercises should be conducted at planned intervals when significant changes occur in the policies, plans and controls. The greater the impact of an information security incident, the more often the exercises should occur. So if we think an information security breach in a particular area is going to be particularly impactful, then any controls in place to prevent it obviously should be checked more frequently. In the same way that on a nuclear power station they check for safety far more frequently than, say, you do at home or in a regular office, because the implications of them getting it wrong are far greater than any implications of you getting it wrong. So again, it's just balancing things out. Embedding information security into all aspects of the service value system. So again, we're talking about embedding it into everyone's job every day, as we've said before. So embedding it into the guiding principles, governance, service value chain and value streams, practices across any or all of the 4 dimensions, and continual improvement. So all parts of the service value system. Okay, so there we are. That's it. That is the end. If you're going on to do the exam, don't forget, if you haven't bought it already, you can purchase it from zindiac.co.uk. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And of course, all I've got left to say now is until you see me again, have a great day.